Welcome back to Fame and Fact. Tonight's story is not just about trade. It's about power, alliances, and a growing rift between the United States and Europe. At the center of it all, Donald Trump and Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, two leaders often seen as political allies, now standing on opposite sides of a heated tariff dispute that could shake global markets. Donald Trump has once again sent shockwaves across the world by signaling new and tougher tariffs on European goods. His message is clear and uncompromising. Trump claims Europe has taken advantage of the United States for too long, and this time, he says, America will strike back economically. According to Trump, tariffs are not a threat, they are a weapon. A tool to force cooperation, protect American workers, and pressure foreign governments into compliance. He has warned that these tariffs could start small, but quickly escalate if Europe refuses to meet U.S. demands. The reaction in Europe was immediate and tense. Then came the response that surprised many. Giorgia Meloni, Italy's prime minister and one of Trump's closest ideological allies in Europe, publicly pushed back. In a rare and blunt statement, Meloni called the tariff threats a serious mistake. Her words sent a powerful message. Meloni warned that tariffs between allies don't create strength, they create damage. She stressed that these measures would hurt ordinary people first, driving up prices, disrupting industries, and weakening trust between nations that have stood together for decades. Behind the scenes, the stakes are enormous. If the tariffs move forward, European leaders are already considering retaliation. That could mean counter-tariffs on American products, from agriculture to manufacturing, igniting a full-scale trade confrontation between two of the world's largest economic powers. Experts are now sounding the alarm. Economists warn that even the threat of tariffs can slow investment, shake markets, and weaken global growth. Businesses hate uncertainty, and right now, uncertainty is spreading fast. For Italy, the risk is personal. Italian exports, luxury fashion, food products, machinery, depend heavily on access to the U.S. market. Higher tariffs could damage Italian industries overnight, while American consumers would feel the impact through higher prices. This clash also raises deeper questions. Is this just about trade, or is it about control, influence, and the future of global alliances? Trump's approach reflects a hardline nationalist strategy: protect domestic industries at any cost. Meloni's response reflects a different view, one that argues the world is too interconnected for economic warfare between allies. As tensions rise, diplomacy is being tested. Will negotiations calm the storm? Or are we witnessing the early signs of another global trade conflict? One that could reshape U.S. European relations for years to come? For now, the world is watching closely. Because what happens next won't just affect politicians. It will affect markets, jobs, prices, and everyday lives. That's the latest from Fame and Fact. If you want clear, factual updates on the stories shaping our world, make sure to subscribe. And behind closed doors, the pressure is intensifying. Sources close to European leadership say emergency discussions are already underway in Brussels. Officials are preparing for the possibility that Trump's warnings are not just political posturing, but a signal of real economic action. Trade experts are running scenarios, calculating damage, and identifying which industries would be hit first if tariffs become reality. At the same time, Donald Trump is doubling down. In statements to supporters, Trump has framed the issue as a test of strength. He insists that backing down would mean weakness, and that tariffs are the only language some governments understand. To his base, this is about defending American sovereignty, American jobs, and American leverage on the world stage. But Giorgia Meloni is walking a careful line. Publicly, she remains firm, repeating that tariffs between allies are dangerous and unnecessary. Privately, she is pushing for diplomacy, urging Washington to reconsider before the situation spirals out of control. Meloni knows that once tariffs are imposed, reversing them becomes politically difficult and economically painful. This growing divide highlights a larger shift in global politics. For decades, the U.S. and Europe have presented a united front on trade, security, and international order. Now, that unity is being tested by nationalism, economic pressure, and competing visions of global leadership. Markets are already reacting. Even before any tariffs are officially announced, uncertainty alone is enough to rattle investors. Companies hesitate to expand. Supply chains tighten. Prices begin to creep upward. The economic ripple effects can be felt long before the first tariff is ever applied. And then there's the political risk. If Trump proceeds, Europe may have no choice but to respond. Retaliation would almost certainly follow, not because European leaders want confrontation, but because they fear appearing weak. What begins as a tariff dispute could quickly evolve into a broader economic standoff. For everyday people, the consequences are real. Higher prices at the grocery store, more expensive cars, costlier clothing and electronics. Trade wars don't stay in conference rooms, they reach into homes. As negotiations continue, the clock is ticking. Will Trump soften his stance under pressure from allies and markets? Will Meloni succeed in pulling both sides back from the edge? Or is the world heading toward another chapter of economic conflict between longtime partners? One thing is certain, this story is far from over. Because when power, pride, and money collide, compromise becomes harder, and the consequences become global. Stay with Fame and Fact as we continue to follow this developing story and bring you the facts behind the headlines.